Okay, then finally, if you have any questions for the speakers, please hold on to them so you can ask in the breakout rooms with your selected speaker at the end. Please refrain from adding questions to the chat as they may be distracting to speakers. So what can you, sorry, one moment. What can you expect from tonight's event? I'm going to start by talking a little bit about YPE, then Emmy from SPIE will introduce their group. I'll move us through each of our speaker presentations, which are in the traditional switch format. So each speaker has 5 minutes and their slides auto-advance. Once each speaker has had a chance to present, we'll split each attendee into a breakout room with the speaker of their choice for around 20 minutes. You'll have the opportunity to select your first choice speaker in the chat. Then splitting all attendees into breakout rooms will take a few minutes. So we'll be fielding questions with the raise hand function while the breakout rooms are being created. So first, a little bit about YPE. YPE SF Bay Area is a local chapter of the Global Young Professionals in Energy nonprofit organization, which includes over 40,000 members across 40 chapters. We facilitate the advancement of young professionals in the energy sector by providing opportunities for professional networking and knowledge sharing. YPE empowers its members to be leaders in their communities and the global energy industry through various event-oriented initiatives. Our events range from networking mixers to energy facility tours to speaker seminars that explore scientific industry topics. YPE is always looking for creative ways to bring energy professionals together to connect. We also host community and student events as part of our organization's ongoing commitment to social and educational responsibility. I'll be sharing a link to become a member at the end of tonight's event. Emmy, do you want to talk a little bit about SPIE?
Yes, thank you. My name is Emmy Stenstedt, and Srini Srinivasan and I are the co-chairs of the Bay Area chapter of SPIE, Stanford Professionals in Energy. We are very pleased and excited to be doing this event with YPE, and Srini and I want to especially thank Bianca Droude for her incredible effort putting this together tonight. SPIE started in the halls of the business school in 2013 and has grown to over 2,000 members. The mission of SPIE is to provide a platform for collaboration, inspiration, innovation, and professional development for energy professionals and just energy enthusiasts. We do this through things like speaker events, webinars, site tours, small group dinners, happy hours for alumni and friends, like tonight's event. We look to offer opportunities to stay current with cutting-edge ideas.
Sorry, for some reason it's not advancing. There we go.
My water or my normal glasses.
Go ahead and hit it one more time. SPIE has multiple chapters in the US and even globally. And you can join the SPIE group from the Stanford alumni website, join the leadership team, start a chapter, or just join for the community. Email Srini Srinivasan or me, Emmy Stenstedt, if you have questions. And in summary, come SPIE with us. Thank you.
Thanks, Emmy. You and Srini have been an immense help in making this event possible. So now let's dive into the speakers. First, we're going to hear from Sarah Woogen with the Mobility House. Then we'll hear from Yen T. Ye from Voltaic, Walker Wright from NG Storage, followed by Jin No with CISA, and finally, last but not least, Aloke Gupta at the CPUC. But before we dive into Sarah's presentation, we have a trivia question to wake up the audience. Govinda, could you please release the first poll? Great, thanks. All right, what is the estimated number of electric cars in the world today? 200,000, 1.5 million, 7 million, or 15 million? We'll give everyone a few seconds to select the answer you think is correct on the screen. All right, let's give a few more seconds. Okay, Govinda, could you please show the responses? Oops, sorry. Okay, 7 million cars. According to the Global EV Outlook 2020, the sales of electric cars reached 2.1 million globally in 2019, surpassing 2018, already a record year, to boost the stock to 7.2 million EVs. So congrats to those who answered correctly. Great, so now a bit about Sarah. Sarah Woogen is a senior energy and EV market analyst at the Mobility House. Prior to joining the Mobility House as a senior analyst, she worked at STEM, assisting in operations of stationary battery storage with various technologies and programs across North America. At TMH, Sarah helps build out optimization and manage charging simulation tooling for the US storage and EV market, and brings her background of stationary storage to vehicle grid integration research and Second Life battery projects. She holds a master's in atmosphere energy environmental engineering from Stanford. Today, she'll be covering electric vehicles as energy storage through vehicle grid integration. Sarah, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. I am starting your presentation.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to talk to you tonight about electric vehicles as energy storage. There's a lot of reasons that vehicle grid integration is important, but for right now, let's just focus on the US solar market. In recent years, we've seen a large increase of solar PV installations in the country, and especially in California. This is a lot more than was expected. A large installed solar capacity can lead to excess of solar curtailment or wasting of a lot of that energy. You've all probably seen,
Sorry, it's possible that it's not advancing correctly.
it's okay, there you go. You've all probably seen this CAISO duct curve. As solar installed capacity increases, the belly of the duct gets bigger and the curtailment of this energy also increases. Energy storage can help solve this problem by capturing excess solar energy in the belly and use it later during peak ramp periods. Right now, most battery energy storage installations are first life stationary batteries, which you'll probably hear a lot about tonight. But in the future, we expect a lot of that's going to come from second life EV batteries. That's not the only way EVs can help. In California, it's expected that in 2030, there's going to be around 9 terawatt hours of renewable energy curtailment. That's the equivalent of about 27 billion electric vehicle miles or 2 million EVs. Getting to 2 million EVs seems pretty achievable though. Worldwide EV sales, especially in battery electric vehicles, have been going up and are anticipated to keep increasing in the future as more manufacturers have been putting out new electric vehicle models. In California, the aggressive decarbonization goals include around 5 million EVs on the road by 2030. That's approximately 15 terawatt hours of additional battery flexibility, which is way more than the 9 terawatt hours we just said was needed for renewable curtailment. So we really believe that vehicle grid integration is at the cross between the electricity and the automotive industry. The power industry is going to have a large increased need for storage in the future, and the automotive industry will be putting out a lot of batteries onto the market. Vehicle grid integration, or VGI as we call it, is really just about how we drive and how we interact with the electricity grid in doing so, and hopefully smartly. VGI includes V1G, which is just taking energy from the grid and charging your vehicle, and V2G, which also means discharging that energy back from the vehicle to the grid or a building or even your house during an outage. V1G is something that's commercially available today. The most common form of V1G is load management. This is something that can be as simple as plugging in your car after 11 p.m. because that's when the utility said the rate was the cheapest. Or it can be more complex, like flattening the charging load of a fleet of 50 chargers or vehicles. There's a lot of products out there in the market that can do this. V2G is really an additional revenue for EV drivers that we see as a future opportunity. And we're already almost there. In the past, you just wanted to know that you could buy an EV and it would be charged when you need it to be. We can do that today and save money on charging. But in the future, we expect that V2G can make a vehicle owner an additional 650 euros per year. That's crazy to think you can make money by just letting your car sit in your garage. And along the way, it's going to save an estimated 1.7 metric tons of CO2. I've been talking a lot about VGI and V2G as this future thing, but it's also something that's possible today. So I'm going to give you guys an example. I'm going to talk about Porto Santo, which is a small Portuguese island off the coast of Portugal and Morocco. Like many small islands, it had been powered by diesel generators, which, as we know, are expensive and can be very, very dirty. So the island went ahead and installed a lot of renewables in the form of mostly solar and wind. However, as we just talked about, the solar and wind caused a lot of volatility on their electricity grid. So the grid operators were faced with the challenge of exploring different ways to address this volatility. One solution that they were very much considering was actually building out an undersea cable from a neighboring larger island. However, as you'd think, this was going to be extremely expensive. So that's where the Mobility House, along with Renault, came into the island to help. We brought in 40 electric vehicles with both one-directional and bi-directional chargers, as well as 150 kilowatts of second life EV battery storage. Working with the grid operators, all these assets were managed on a marketplace which could react to the signals by the operators. This allowed things like more vehicles to charge when the sun was shining, or when the wind was blowing, or stopping the charging, or even having the discharging of bi-directional vehicles when there was a high demand and little renewable generation, or a power imbalance on the grid, like a cloud passing over the island. As a result, the island was able to reduce their emissions by having cleaner vehicles driving around, save money, stabilize their grid, and increase the amount of renewable energy they were using. And none of this would have been possible if it wasn't for VGI. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Nicely done. And I'm sure there are many questions. To our attendees, please remember you'll be split into breakout rooms with the speaker of your choice at the end of tonight's event. Before we move on to Yen, we have another trivia question for the audience. Govinda, can you please release the second poll? Thank you. All right, the world's largest lithium-ion battery is the Hornsdale Power Reserve in Australia. What is its capacity? 100 megawatts, 250 megawatts, 75 megawatts, or 125 megawatts? Please submit your answers. Okay, we'll give everyone a few more seconds. All right. Govinda, could you please share the results? 100 megawatts. Nice job to those who selected the correct answer. All right, so a little bit about our speaker, Yen. Yen T. Ye is an engineer at Voltaic, working in the intersection of energy storage and data science. Yen has over 8 years of experience working with battery systems, including materials characterization, cell design, prototyping, and battery data analytics. He's a 2019 CELI Fellow and co-hosts the monthly Battery Brunch community to connect Bay Area energy industry professionals with energy investors, policymakers, and academics. Today, Yen will be discussing why batteries are getting cheaper. The cost of batteries is one of the most significant driving forces behind many of today's megatrends. From the electrification of transport to achieving high penetration of renewables in the grid, so much of clean tech success is dependent on the battery industry's ability to lower battery prices. In this talk, Yen will dive into the details of why battery prices have been falling and what that means for the future of energy. Yen, are you ready?
Yes, let's go.
Awesome. So I'm going to start your presentation, and with the past two, it seems like there may be something wrong with the first slide. Just tell me to advance if something's going wrong.
Okay. Okay, so thanks, Bianca, and thanks to everyone for coming to this event. Like Bianca said, in this talk, I will dive into the details of why battery prices have been falling and what does lower battery prices mean for the future of energy. So to start off, I would say that if you care about the future of electric vehicles, about wind and solar, or if you care about our ability to meet greenhouse gas emissions goals, then you should really care about battery prices. Speaking as a battery scientist, cost is only one of the many factors that we try to improve when we go to work every day. And innovations in all of these areas are important, but today we'll be focusing on price. And before we dive into the factors that contributes to lower prices, let's first take a look at the categories that make up the cost of a battery. So here you see that the materials cost makes up 74% of the cost of the device. So let's zoom into that. And wow, here you see that no single component in the battery can lower the cost for the device as a whole. So there are no silver bullets here. Even if we get rid of cobalt completely in the cathode, which is a hot research topic, we'll only be making this portion of the pie slightly smaller. So are prices falling? Well, you might have seen headlines recently about the rapid drop in battery prices. On the pack level, you can see here on the right that prices have dropped quite significantly in the last 10 years. And in fact, prices have gone from over $1,000 per kilowatt hour 10 years ago to well less than $200 per kilowatt hour today on the pack level. So why are price? Oh, sorry. So why are one second. Yeah. So why are prices falling? Give me 1 second here. Bianca, can you let me know if it's advancing or not?
Is this the correct slide?
It is the correct slide. Yes, it is.
Next
okay. Yeah. So let me start this slide.
Okay.
Okay, so why are prices falling? Well, by far the biggest contributor have been the good old economy of scale. We've seen dramatic headlines about global automakers placing orders for tens of billions of dollars worth of battery cells. And these orders have translated into a dramatic increase in manufacturing capacity. At the same time as manufacturers scramble to compete with one another, researchers in academia and industry are working on new technologies that are leading to a continuous improvement in cost. So this leads to a virtuous cycle of lower prices unlocking new applications and demand, which stimulates investment in R&D and manufacturing, which ultimately leads to lower prices. So how low can prices go? Well, according to Bloomberg, we're looking at $62 by 2030. Now there's some debate about this projection, but there is consensus in the industry that prices will go below $100 for sure sometime in the near future. In the short term, lower prices will most likely come from improvements in equipment and lower CapEx cost. It's just cheaper to expand an existing factory than to build a brand new one from a greenfield. And in the longer term, lower prices will have to come from improvements in the underlying chemistry of the battery. Higher energy density means that you need fewer of everything, similar to how high efficiency solar cells can lower system cost. And now I want to talk to you about opportunities. In the past, better batteries have catalyzed the creation of entirely new industries. So for example, in the 80s, NiCad batteries brought us camcorders. In the 90s, lithium ion brought us laptops and cell phones. And modern chemistries like LFP and nickel-based chemistries have sparked the EV revolution that we're currently experiencing. We have line of sight to lowering the cost of batteries enough to cross the tipping point for popular adoption of EVs. So there's no question about this. This means that existing players need to adapt to a growing and changing industry landscape. Industries like transportation and utilities will be impacted as a consequence of lower battery prices. And the changes will be happening very quickly. This is a time of tremendous opportunity for wind and solar developers. Being dispatchable means that the pie is bigger now. The energy generated by renewable assets can start competing in areas for grid services that previously was just not available for us to compete in. Cheaper batteries means more batteries, and more batteries means opportunities to innovate. As batteries retire, we'll need services in mining, recycling, Second Life, and so on. These are industries that we know will be necessary, but a lot of them do not exist for now. So what are the billion-dollar opportunities? Well, since price reduction has a floor at raw material cost, we need to look for batteries based on earth-abundant materials with a long cycle life. So new chemistries with these properties can fundamentally change the cost equation. And of course, big data and machine learning. More batteries means more data, and we'll need a dedicated infrastructure to track, manage, and optimize for the safety, performance, and even the bankability of batteries. So this intersection of batteries and data will absolutely be fertile grounds for innovation in the next few years. And thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Yen. That was fabulous. And now we have our last trivia question. These questions were all courtesy of Srini from SPIE. Govinda, could you please release the third poll? Incredible. Okay, for the third poll, which US state has the most installed capacity of energy storage systems? South Carolina, Texas, New York, or California? I'll give you all a few moments to submit responses. Okay, Govinda, can you please release the results? The answer is California. California leads the US in energy storage with 300 operational projects, about 7.2 gigawatts, followed by Virginia and South Carolina. Awesome. So on to our third speaker, Walker Wright. Walker Wright is a VP of policy for NG storage, as well as heading the Western policy strategy within Rob Minter's government and regulatory affairs group within NG North America. Walker currently serves as an executive board member to both the California Solar and Storage Association and the California Energy Storage Alliance. He also serves on the advisory council to the Solar Rights Alliance, focusing on the customer perspective. Previously, Walker was a senior director of public policy for Sunrun, America's largest home solar and storage company, where for 5 years he focused on helping Western state markets attain long-term DG growth via legislative, regulatory, and public opinion outcomes. He holds a BA from Princeton and an MS from the London School of Economics and Political Sciences. Today, Walker will be going over public policy matters, the job. Walker, are you ready?
Yes, excited to be here.
Excellent. I will start your presentation now, and if there's some hiccup, just let me know that I need to advance the slide.
Hi, everyone. Walker Wright with NG, a large global IP here in North America. I'm really spending my time split between storage policies and DER, behind the meter policies in the Western states for different NG companies. And so basically when I wake up in the morning, this is sort of the menu that I look at when I think about the topics that are at play. And in my mind, I try to divide them between, an internal break that we have within NG, which is sort of renewables in front of the meter storage opportunities, and different segments within the market that I'm looking at in terms of policy advocacy and policy, regulatory initiatives that we need to take. And on the right side of that screen is more behind the meter, customer focused schools. So here in California, for example, we do a lot of solar and storage at schools. I definitely want to spend a second to sort of differentiate for this group what we call IFM and BTM, in front of the meter and behind the meter. They're two very, very different aspects at looking at policy and the energy sector and the renewable sector in general. So, on the right, you sort of have a school with a solar system. There's a storage component there, and that's really a retail product where you are providing that customer with a value proposition so that they are saving money and being sustainable for investing in your product. Whereas in front of the meter is more of a wholesale product, selling to the utility, selling to the municipal utility, who then pass on those costs to the ratepayers, to their rate customers at the end. So two different segmentations. But in general, within policy, we're constantly looking at a number of bills and deciding which ones are important. From those bills, we have to choose a few which we want to be really engaged in and really reporting back to the business what matters most for the different businesses in certain states, whether it's California, Texas, or Nevada. And so in any situation where you're engaged, the first thing that we like to do from a policy perspective is understand what the chessboard looks like. Who are the legislators working on it? Where are the regulators on an industry? How do the ratepayer advocates feel about it? Who are your friends out there, your foes? Your friends will often be other companies that are aligned with you, but competitors in the sector. So for a lot of policy discussions really focus on, are you growing the pie? Are you helping grow the pie from which your customer can get a percentage of that business, or your business can get a percentage of that market, or are you protecting the pie? And so you have to look at it from both ways. And again, we go back to, there's certain things that you want to be really active on, engaged in, and others you want to be more passive, but reporting information back to the company to which you're working. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of the job. But the favorite part is obviously sort of being at the table and involved deeply in a matter that matters, to your company essentially, and to your customers that are out there. And so we say, are you at the table with the other entities that are negotiating a piece of legislation or a regulatory decision? Often in policy, we try to understand where you are. Are you sort of a little bit ahead of the market, or are you catching up to the market? So often a market will be developed before the product is ready, before the prices have come down. We heard that in a previous presentation. Or are you a little bit late to the market? I can think of many examples in solar where some companies got to a state a year or two after others did, and they had already sort of missed the boat, so to speak. So that's a big part of the policy job in general, figuring out your timing. From my personal perspective, I always try to sort of think, who are my friends out there, and what is my my network, so I can collect information quickly on a piece of legislation or a regulatory decision that is out there, and figure out, going back to who are my alliances, who are my friends, where can I get information quickly. This topic comes up a lot, when you look at policy, what companies are leading, and they tend to be companies that are, market leaders. By market share, and they tend to be very involved and invested, and they often tend to be making those decisions if they're very focused on one individual segment. So like rooftop solar, or behind the meter energy storage, or EV charging. Those companies who do something specific will be defending that policy and really advocating on that policy heavily. And again, going with this same theme, you sort of look at who the policy market makers are, in any segment, whether it's Uber or Tesla or others. Like, there are certain companies that really have to be out in front of things, and there are other companies that are not. Utilities always are very involved in policies. And the utilities and those companies are also involved in different policy arenas. So it's like the state legislature. Below that, you have the Senate and the Assembly, and then you have the regulatory bodies, where the legislation is passed to. So the PUC, the CEC, and the ISO. When I look at policy, I always try to look at it from where we can find value from a customer perspective. So for that rooftop solar system on a school, what is the rate design for the school? What does net metering mean to the school? Is there an energy efficiency program the school can participate in? Is that energy efficiency program still active, or does it need to be renewed? Those kind of things. So what we try to look at in these conversations, and Aloke from the PUC can talk to this. Like, there are you have to ask who has juice and why there is juice on a certain policy matter. Where is labor? Where are the environmental groups, et cetera? You're understanding why should a public policy stakeholder listen to you from a company perspective, and who are your customers? In our case, our customers are schools, which is a great voice. I'll leave it to Jin. Jin, by the way, who is a policy, we speak probably every day, so within CISA.
Awesome. That was great. Thanks so much, Walker. And now, yes, I am so excited to introduce Jin No. Jin is a senior manager at Strategen, where he manages policy and regulatory affairs for the California Energy Storage Alliance, also known as CISA. Jin is a leading expert on energy storage policy in California, the world's leading energy storage market. Jin's work focuses on California system and distribution planning processes, storage interconnection processes, wholesale market design, and innovative program design for behind-the-meter storage resources. Prior to joining Strategen, Jin worked as an analyst at SRI International, and also previously consulted Sonoma Clean Power and the U.S. Department of Energy on energy storage procurement strategies and grid resilience investments. Jin received a Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy Studies from in economics from Duke, and a master's in public policy from the Golden School at UC Berkeley. Today, Jin will be discussing storage for capacity and reliability planning. Are you ready, Jin?
Great, Bianca, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to start your presentation now.
Great, thank you everyone. And Walker, it's great to be on your speed dial. You know, we can talk storage every day. And just wanted to give everyone a snapshot into some of the conversations that I'm having every day around storage for capacity and reliability planning. So everyone is talking about storage these days. Anytime you open up a green tech media or utility dive article on any day, you'll see a constant flurry of news of new energy storage technologies, project announcements, or services. At the heart of the growth of storage is California. Over a 7-year period starting in 2013, California successfully met its storage procurement target. But that growth has since accelerated, where we saw procurement announcements in the first half of 2020 alone, far exceeding that target that took 7 years to achieve. And the future looks even brighter for storage. To achieve California's 2030 decarbonization goals, models have shown a need for over 11,000 megawatts of storage, which is threefold of what we have today. But only a fraction of those storage announcements are actually operational today, which suggests that storage is still untested or emerging to some. So as the wave of storage resources come online over the coming decade, grid planners and regulators are asking whether we can entrust reliable operation of a decarbonized grid to storage, where to date they've mostly been procured to meet narrow peak capacity needs. But in a deep decarbonization scenario with significant amounts of clean but intermittent generation, we need more than narrow peak capacity. Can storage provide long duration energy? And what happens on cloudy days? To begin to understand this issue, we should begin with how reliability planning is done. Capacity, known as resource adequacy, ensures a portfolio of resources are lined up to reliably operate the grid during outages and for those rare 1 in 10 peak conditions. In California, its RA program identifies grid needs, ensures forward capacity resources are secured through contracts, and then are made available to the CAISO markets at the right times to ensure the lights stay on. So how a resource type counts for capacity, though, is not so simple. To ease accounting and contracting, simple but complexly derived accounting conventions are established in California to determine the approximate RA contributions of all assets, including solar and wind. For storage, similar simplifications have been made. A 4-hour rule to count storage for its full nameplate capacity has approximated the level of duration needed to provide peak system capacity, while helping to make storage financeable with clear capacity product definitions. However, as we move beyond narrow peak capacity and approach deeper levels of decarbonization, it's possible that this simple accounting construct falls apart. Already, we are seeing a number of studies show that the capacity value of 4-hour storage is dropping over time. And more broadly, grid planners and regulators are asking whether we can actually move off the always available but dirty fossil generation we have become accustomed to run the grid historically. But new and innovative approaches may be necessary. Some of these new approaches are already being tested and explored today. To address longer duration energy storage needs, a portfolio of 4-hour storage resources could be aggregated and optimized across the overall need while using or adapting existing counting rules. Hybrids can also play a major role. By hybridizing storage with gas, for example, we can utilize storage for normal day capacity while idling the paired gas unit except in emergency situations, thus reducing GHGs and providing contingency capacity. Similarly, storage can be hybridized with renewable generation to create a dispatchable clean resource to shift output the times when capacity is needed, where capacity products are being developed to incentivize such configurations. Longer duration storage can also play a role and includes many technology types such as pump hydro, flow, compressed air, to name a few. And with new capacity products, this emerging class of technologies could address some of the longer duration capacity needs. So in some ways, I would argue that the decarbonization side of the problem is easier to solve given the technologies available today, whereas ensuring reliability with a portfolio of various clean generation and storage is the real challenge. And I sympathize with grid planners and regulators who worry that relying almost entirely on a grid mix of renewables and storage to be there for you is an untested paradigm, but I believe it is possible. Many lessons will be learned, and it may take some time, but with reasonable planning, experience, and smart dispatch, storage can and will effectively support California's reliability needs and climate goals. So join me in tackling the key challenge of our generation. Through collaboration and creative thinking, we don't have to make trade-offs between decarbonization and reliability. Thank you.
That was excellent, Jin. Thank you. Now, everyone, our next speaker is a consummate energy professional with a distinguished career both in technology companies and in policy formulation. Whoops. Go back. Okay. At the Energy Division of the CPUC, where Aloke is doing a second stint, he's focused on developing policies related to the intersection of the grid and the emerging technologies. Many of you may be familiar with his work in developing California's energy storage framework that culminated in 1.3 gigawatts of procurement target for IOUs, which is credited by many observers as setting the stage for the rapid adoption of storage for grid applications. A fun fact about Aloke is that he has the distinction of introducing the first ever battery jokes at a CPUC workshop. Aloke's experience and his topic for tonight are more relevant than ever in these times in California. In his speech, Aloke will be presenting ways to think about the goal of getting to a clean grid in California. Aloke suggests that it may require us to define storage differently and think beyond just adding utility scale batteries. And as a disclaimer, Aloke's presentation should not be construed as representing the CPUC or as advocacy for any particular policy position. This is just an attempt to capture ideas and discussion among stakeholders for consideration by the audience. Aloke, are you ready?
Are you able to unmute my line?
We hear you now. Okay, so are we all good? Can you unmute yourself again?
I think.
Yeah,
Great.
we can hear you now.
I will start your presentation now.
I think he has audio difficulties, Bianca.
Okay, let's see if I can help out. Alok, do you want to unmute only on your phone or? Okay, we can hear you now.
I think I'm unmuted now. You can hear me? Now you can hear me?
Yes, you have an echo, so you may be unmuted on 2 devices.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right, how's this?
That's excellent. Okay, great. So I'm going to go back.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, ready?
Bianca?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Not able to hear anything? Hold on a second.
Oh no.
Okay, testing once again.
Yes, can you hear me?
All right, I think we're good. Let's start.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to start now.
So thanks, Bianca. So this talk is about non-storage alternatives, but actually, as we will see, all roads eventually lead back to storage. One caveat before we start, these slides are back of the envelope, so please don't cite them. Let's start at the very top in terms of policy making. There are several considerations shaping California's energy landscape, which could be summarized into 4 key policy drivers. Let's zoom in on emissions reductions. As you know, California has mandated a 100% clean energy system, and many studies have looked at how to achieve this goal. There is a pattern to their conclusions converging on 3 primary strategies. Now, one strategy is to decarbonize the power sector on the supply side. Another is converting demand side end uses from gas to electricity. A third is energy efficiency. Now let's dig a bit further into the first strategy. The CPUC is responsible for integrated resource planning, focused on finding the best pathway to clean energy. The most recent model calls for lots of new renewables and utility scale batteries by 2030. Now, certain implications of IRP model are concerning. The famous California duck gets much larger. In fact, modeling projects a 15x increase in solar curtailment by 2030. Now let's try to visualize the magnitude of this curtailment. IRP projects 12 gigawatts of new solar capacity in 10 years. The entire output of all those new solar systems is expected to be dumped in some months of 2030. A second trend is a sharp 60% increase in the evening ramp. This means the grid must become quite flexible in 2030. Now, how exactly does the grid become flexible? Well, there are two primary options. One involves fossil fuel. This we want to minimize. The other involves large utility scale batteries on the supply side, about 60 gigawatt hours in storage capacity, and they tend to cost money. The question for the evening is, can we find other sources of grid flexibility? And the IRP analysis shows that an end-use demand flexibility can be cost-effective alternative. So now where can we find this flexible demand? So remember, our second strategy calls for end-use electrification, that is switching transportation and buildings from fossils to electricity. So let's see what opportunities this brings. Now the state goal is 5 million EVs. The resulting total storage capacity on the demand side could be almost 5 times the projected supply side storage capacity. So thus EVs could be a valuable source of grid flexibility. Now water heaters are essentially thermal storage and don't really care when they're heated. So switching a third of these units to electricity could provide grid flexibility equivalent to the projected supply side storage. Similarly, space heating can also be considered thermal storage, and switching 20% of the homes to electricity can provide demand flexibility about equal to the projected utility storage on the supply side. Air conditioning is yet another form of thermal storage. Increasing the deployment of smart thermostats to 60% of the homes. Well, you get the idea. This could be yet another source of significant grid flexibility. There are many other end uses to consider, all quite flexible in terms of when energy is consumed, such as pool pumps. And water pumping is a very large flexible end use, and many industrial processes can be quite flexible. There are even more emerging sources of significant flexible demand on the horizon. Consider water desalination, vertical farming, and then green hydrogen production is quite energy intensive, but very flexible. So our top strategy list can be expanded. So just capturing a fraction of the available demand flexibility could be substantial relative to the supply side capability. But how do we get customer demand to move in response to grid conditions? So one idea is to develop a real-time economic signal that reflects dynamic grid conditions. Then smart devices such as EVs and water heaters can leverage the capabilities of IoTs and interact with the grid signal to adjust their demand. So to wrap up, electrification presents an opportunity to exploit demand-side storage embedded in customer devices. This could be a major source of grid flexibility as an alternative to expensive utility scale batteries, which can then help accelerate the transition to carbon-free grid at less cost. Back to you, Bianca.
Great. Alok, thank you so much. Now we will be splitting everyone into breakout rooms, and Songyan, I'm going to make you the host now. Okay, so when you have a chance, if you could please make me a co-host. Sorry for the behind the scenes stuff, everyone. But so in these breakout rooms, we're asking that you please unmute yourselves and start video if possible, and then civilly start to ask any questions that you may have for the speakers. So really the floor is yours to ask questions for the speaker that you've selected. So speakers, once you, as I've recommended, once you've all moved into the room, feel free to just open the floor to any questions that the event attendees may have. So how this is going to work, we want each attendee to type in just the letter for A, B, C, D, or E that is associated with the speaker with whom they are interested in speaking in a breakout room. And please send that in the chat. So as you do that in the back end, Govinda is going to be placing the names into lists for Songyan to use to break you up into those rooms. And so as you can probably tell, this process, which isn't ideal, is going to take a few moments. So right now we're actually going to open the floor to any questions that anyone would like to ask in the larger group. So in order to do this, again, these are questions that you may not ask in the breakout room. So please, yeah, just think about that fact. But the way we're going to do this is we're going to have you use the raise hand function if you have a question. And I will hopefully be able to monitor that. If anyone has any questions for the speakers right now before we move into the breakout rooms, please raise your hand and I will tell you to go ahead. And then Songyan, when you're ready, just let us know.
Sure.
I wonder if I'm able to see who's raised their hand, because right now I'm not.
Yeah, I think no one's raising hands.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, yeah, if anyone has any questions at all.
David Jones just raised his hand.
Okay. Let's see if I'm able to see. Oh, I am able to see that. Great. Okay. Govinda and Songyan, you can focus. Sorry about that. Great. Yeah. So David, you have the floor for questions that you have for our speakers.
Sure. So can everybody hear me okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So just a really general question. So there's been a lot of policy talk and data and things like that. And I'm just wondering how the speakers see these things funneling into new products, new services, things like that, for either selling to C&I customers, to utilities, to, like just how do these things come from, just the analysis component to actually getting out and deployed into the field?
I'll just take that from a public policy perspective, because I think it's a good question when you look at, for example, the grid planning, which was spoken to from the perspective of the PUC, to companies looking to invest where we are. And for example, we saw a presentation on batteries and how they're getting much cheaper to manufacture. From my perspective, when you look at public policy, it's look like batteries are getting much cheaper to manufacture. That there's no doubt. You see the graphs and you see the statistics, but the overlapping theme is how are they financed and what's the installed cost? And even if the price of batteries is getting much cheaper, if 95% of the fire departments in America don't have regulations for interconnecting a battery next to a building, nothing's going to get installed. So that's really the sort of and then there's interconnection policies, there's permitting policies. So like public policy is really connecting these different themes that are out there in these different arenas and bringing something to market, which is sort of where your question is. So it's really a good tie. And I think you'll get some good insight as well from other speakers on how you connect the dots there.
Do any of the other?
Jen, I think.
Yeah.
I think I would add, in working with a lot of companies like Walker's and just the broad industry at large, what I constantly hear is, being able to really define what the grid needs are that they can address, and then to the degree possible, creating standardized contracts, standardized, market products that help people kind of shape and fit their technology or their business model into addressing those needs. And so, for example, working with a lot of long duration storage technologies, there's a lot of innovative tech there, but they really need the market signals, the contracts, and the capacity products to really, help them monetize, their technology's capabilities.
Do any of the other speakers have anything they'd like to add? Otherwise, we can move on to another question if anyone has any more questions. Okay. So yeah, does anyone else have a hand to raise
Just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah, thanks, David. Anyone else have any other questions for the group that everyone can answer together, or anything of the sort?
I can start my stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I'm very interested to hear what your jokes were for the CPUC workshop. All right, it actually looks like we have everyone ready to go into their breakout rooms. So you are about to get sent in by Songyan. You'll have 20 minutes and then we will bring you back just for some closing remarks. And so I can show you the websites for SPIE and YPE if you're interested in learning a little more about us. Again, I've gotten some comments in the chat about the presentation. I want to apologize to the speakers for my computer freezing on some of your slides and the rhythm being messed up, but I think you all did a phenomenal job. And this is recorded, so we will have that recording available to disperse on the YPE and SPIE sites. So Songyan, if you are ready, you can send people into their rooms.
Yeah, sorry, just need like 1 or 2 minutes.
Oh, okay, no worries. Yeah, so then we have maybe a chance for another question if anyone would like.
I guess I have a pretty broad question around, I think one of the points that was just made around the price signals that are required. I think what is typically the difficult point around the flexibility is that a lot of flexibility providers say the price signals aren't strong enough yet, so they can't build sufficient business models. I wonder if the speakers could speak a bit about the price requirement that you think will really bring it to market in an effective way.
Was that directed to anybody in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer that from a California perspective, behind the meter, given that I saw that there was that trivia question, and glad that everyone, we had a good percentage of positive responses on California. I mean, look, from a behind the meter perspective, a customer perspective, investing in solar or batteries is going to come down to the economics. And it's really a combination of the rate design that customer has, what the cost of energy is, what their bill looks like, which is different than their rate. There's two different topics there: the bill, what they pay every month, and then what goes into their energy rates. And it's really, are they saving money with that? Is there an incentive that is passed at the state legislative body and implemented by the PUC? Those price signals historically will drive the installed cost down due to competition. I guess, if 20% of California schools roughly right now have rooftop solar, for example, or on-site solar, a small percentage of those have storage. but due to changes in rate design, the way we pay for electricity here in the state, and the devaluing of those exported electrons during the day, over time as our peak shifts to the evening, we're now seeing more and more of those end customers want to adopt energy storage, that is being pushed out through various incentive programs. So we're seeing it happen, and I think that the public policy drivers are there for driving down the costs considerably. And then what that does is it frankly allows the installed cost of storage to go down elsewhere in the country, which is something that we saw in solar, between 8 and 10 years ago. If California is driving down the cost and there's a competitive market here, other states, even if they don't have an incentive program, are able to take advantage of the lower prices due to a competitive market here. So I hope that answers part of your question, but it really is, like Jen said, the right price signals that are being set up early to create that competitive market. And that's on the customer side. On the wholesale side, solar plus storage is already getting extremely cheap right now and competitive in a good way. And we're just seeing incredible growth across the country there.
Awesome. So actually now we are ready for the breakout rooms. So I am going to have Songyeon send you all there.
Yeah, I just sent you guys. Let me know if you guys are sent to wrong room or not assigned.
I think it's working. I'm seeing the participant number go down. Okay, there are a few folks left. So if you somehow privately sent me the sent me or Songyeon or Govinda the letter of the room you'd like to be sent into, please send it through the chat to the whole group, and then Songyeon can send you into that room. Does that work? And then otherwise,
yeah, I'm sending.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Bianca, I got kicked out of Group C. This is Casey.
Sad.
Can you, can someone put me back in, please?
Yes, I think Songyeon can take care of you in a moment.
Yeah, could you write down the letter in the chat?
Oh, yeah. Thanks again for setting all this up. This is a great panel.
Yeah, I'm so glad you could come. I know it's late for you.
Yeah, I just sent you. I see Marcus still.
Is Mark Dowd by chance? Is that my dad? It might be my dad. Let me message him back. Oh, yes, it is. Well, I'll just give you the spiel. I'll give my family the spiel who's on the line.
Okay, do we still have someone who wants to go? We got team Marcus.
Yeah, it seems like Timothy and Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
Would either of you like to be sent into a breakout room? Or you can feel free to drop from the call if if not, because that's pretty much the rest of the event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not getting any messages from them, so
okay.
I think we can just hang out, but including my dad and my mom who are watching. This is the last slide.
Fun.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, that's it.
Wait, so are we planning to send out the survey link after this?
Yeah. Yeah. So the next part of my script is, welcome back, everyone. I'm sure you had excellent conversations in the breakout rooms. Now I want to say thank you so much to everyone for attending. This has been a phenomenal event. Srini and Emmy from SPIE, thank you for humoring me and being willing to partner with YPE for an event in your traditional switch style. You two spent many hours helping prepare for this event, and I and the YPE team are so grateful. If anyone is interested in learning more about SPIE, I've included their website link on the slide here. Another thank you I want to give is to Songyun and Govinda and the rest of the YPE team. You all were so patient with me as I figured out a vision for this event, and you contributed so many great ideas. If anyone is interested in learning more about the SF Bay Area chapter of YPE, I've included the website link here. Finally, we'll be sending a survey out to attendees to get a sense of how the event went for you all. It would be an incredible help if you all could fill that out. Okay, I think that's it for me. Anyone else from the YPE SPI team want to say anything? Thanks all for coming, and I hope you have an excellent rest of your evening.
Just for the record, this is recording.
What'd you say?
This is recording.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Totally forgot. Also, so each breakout rooms are not recorded, or is it recorded?
No, they're not.
Okay.
Yeah. Luckily, before we send out the recording to YPE and SPIE, I think, like, I think I would just clip it, because the bulk of it is the presentations themselves, of course.
I love how your dad is there on the side and just.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see. Did they put video on? I doubt it. Oh, no. So did you send Emmy and Srini and I think that's it from SPIE. Did you send them both into breakout rooms?
Yeah, they also wrote.
Yeah, they mentioned
room they want to go.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's only the three of us plus your dad.
Who's not saying anything?
Yeah.
Emmy is with Sarah and Srini is with Jin.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, I feel so bad that I think it's because I was receiving chat messages, which caused my like screen sharing to like mess with the presentation. So during the ends, I mean, I could read on my other screen, I could read his script, and he was like 3 slides ahead. So I just skipped through all of them. So I'm sure we'll get some comments about that, but yeah.
But I think it was perfect. It was okay. It was
it was pretty fluent, and actually I found it pretty fun though. Like it happened because of this switch style. So
yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I loved about it, is like there were some things when I watched that it seemed like they had every intention to say something, but it just couldn't get out because they didn't like budget the time for another topic. And it's like it's awkward. It's definitely awkward, but it's like funny awkward, so that people remember it and want to ask more about that topic. Like I remember, I think I had to take Bart back to school or something that night, so I had to leave before I could ask any of the speakers questions, and there were 10 speakers, so I'm sure the event went on until like 9:30 with people mingling in the room. But it's really cool. Oh my God, like you two are so helpful, because that was so much more work. Like signing up for the YPE events committee, I'm definitely clipping this out of the recording, but I didn't know that it would, be like that an event, planning an event would take this amount of time. Like I've just never really planned a serious event, and this was virtual.
Yeah, me neither, but I think it's
more than I expected to.
I think none of us like expected this,
Yeah. But I appreciate both of you. So thank you. I'm realizing now I didn't take note of when they were sent in. Did you set it for 20 minutes?
Yeah, actually, no, I cannot set it for 20 minutes, but I wrote, it was around like 7:03 or something. So I will close it 7:23 and then they'll give 1 minute to close the room.
Okay.
So, and they'll all be back by 1 minute later.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Thank God not everyone wanted to go to the room.
Oh yeah. Did each speaker have someone?
Yeah, so Walker has 4, that's the least. And Yen has, I think, around 13 to 14, which is the most.
I believe it. Yeah. I think people are so interested in the
price.
technology. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's like really good amount of participants to actually network. I was a little bit worried, like if all of like 150 people came, then like, you know, like 50 people in one room, like you cannot really, you know, network there. So I think this is good amount to really like ask questions and get to know each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like the breakout rooms. Have either of you done oh shoot, what is it called? Well, I'm like sales adjacent in my role at work. So I had to do this program called Selling Through Curiosity, which is virtual and is with like people in all sorts of different industries. But you're supposed to like, you have all these modules where you practice like selling to someone, and those breakout rooms were so awkward because it was like 4 random people you don't know across the country, and you're like trying to get them to buy a theoretical product. It's like I had just started the job, like I just didn't know. But yeah, I didn't like the breakout rooms then, but it's nice because like people will add me on LinkedIn after like talking in breakout rooms, and that feels kind of normal. So.
Oh yeah, sounds like you sold the product well. for yourself instead of module.
How are things at Recurrent?
I think it's same old. Like nothing. I mean, like, you know, busy as always, but nothing special.
Yeah, yeah. And Govinda, what do you work on?
I work for the Silicon Valley Leadership Group in public policy. So I was on the call with Walker before the event too. So we were discussing, and we were discussing a long duration storage bill.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So you just graduated from your master's?
No, I'm actually doing my master's. I'm here on a Wright scholarship. So yeah, so I'm also, because my classes are in the evening, so I'm actually working in the afternoon and the morning.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then is that how you know Walker?
Yeah, so I know him because of my work. I'm usually the one who's delving in the briefs or the bills that come up in the assembly, the state of in the Senate or the assembly. And then I'm usually driving the company's viewpoint on those bills. And then Walker is from ONG, and they are a very big customer, like not a customer, I would say, but a very big member company of the group. So we get their viewpoint also on different bills. So that's how I know Walker.
Okay, well, cool.
So is that the CISA related stuff or?
Yeah, so like on the long duration storage bill, we have different member companies who are supporting the bill, some are opposing the bill, some are neutral, some on amendments. So we try to take in different views, and then we see how it will benefit the entire Silicon Valley in its entirety, and how it will benefit California as a whole from an energy and environment perspective. So then we go for it. So like now the long duration storage bill has is focused only towards just long duration technologies. So we want that bill to be open to all kinds of storage technologies. So So we kind of deal with that, and then we take in amendments, and then we propose amendments. We try to get in different companies to support on it too, including the Storage Alliance.
Nice. Wait, so is this recording gonna be posted in like YPE website or something, or how are we doing with this recording?
So I think Emmy wants to post it in the on the SPIE website, and then apparently Chad and Melina have added their recordings of their events, like Eventbrite, because you can like do that in post, and it just shows up as like webinar recording.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so but yeah, I'm definitely gonna make sure to cut out this stuff because
I think we can cut out. We also have to cut out the beginning, like.
Oh
like,
yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh, or no, you start recording after that.
Oh right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. We can still cut this 20-minute part.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is there something to do after this event other than like posting recording?
I was going to put together a survey. Do either of you have any recommendations for what's like a good format? Because I know like yesterday I was saying, oh, not everyone has Google, but that's a survey through Google or maybe SurveyMonkey is all I can think of. And it would just be like 2 questions, like what do you like best? What room for improvement is there, you know?
Yeah, SurveyMonkey would do. I think it's the easiest
to,
so.
Okay. I'll do that. I'm definitely going to take a break tonight after this and not do it.
You should.
You should.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad this is done. It's been just like work has been absolutely wild, as you know, because I've taken so long to respond to messages, but then like having this on top has been like, wow. But we're almost at the end.
Yeah, I feel like we should have like a happy hour after this event.
I know, yeah.
It's been on your head since 2 months now.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it happened. I don't know. I think it was cool. A lot of people were obviously interested, so. Oh, go ahead.
And do you expect, because like it's like, do you expect us to, YPE to have like other partnership with SPI in the future, or?
That's something I was thinking about. I don't know. I really like the Switch event, but I don't know what other events they have. So I don't know like what would feel normal. Like YPE has a lot of happy hours. I don't know if SPIE does happy hour. I don't know. I would be willing to do it because it's a great community. And I think the fact that all their spots on their registration sold out in under an hour really spoke to how engaged that community is, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not going to take the lead on planning any YPE events this year.
I think you need a break, definitely.
Yeah, thank you. Melina and Madeline really want to plan that diversity and clean tech hiring event, and so I would be super excited about that. I think we were thinking like November. But we probably wouldn't partner with anyone. Are either of you working on anything else, or is this kind of it?
Yeah, actually, I gonna work on presidential election one, and after that, the grid security.
Oh, nice! Wow,
Yeah.
really dipping your toes into a lot.
I mean, I didn't expect, but like I just threw ideas and then like it got selected somehow, and I already share my opinions about it. So it's kind of like, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna leave, but I think I'll still help. I mean, but and also it's fun. Like it's work, but it's fun.
Yeah, totally. It still to me feels sort of like a break from work, which is nice. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what else happens this year. Did either of you go to the Dan Sugar event?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I totally I think I was like, I don't know, I think I was doing something that day, but I totally missed it and like forgot to sign up. And then I feel bad because Melina came to this one, I think. So,
No, but like there's so many webinars now going on that you don't really want to go to so many. I don't know. It's just
yeah, like this Zoom fatigue.
Yeah.
Kind of real.
Yeah. Have you two been to any good ones recently?
I think the last one I was in was the one I was hosting for where I'm studying. No, for the University of San Francisco, or our program at the University of San Francisco.
What event was it?
It was about the EV draft framework, the transportation electrification framework that the CPUC is coming up with. So it's going under review, stakeholder review. And we were discussing how it's going, what is it about, what's the role of IOUs in it. So we had people from CPUC, we had people from IOU, from PG&E, from SCE, and we also had a neutral party. So.
Oh, sweet. That's so cool. Yeah, I go to those, went to those USF events sometimes. One energy storage one, and then another really cool one about microgrids, I think, like about over a year ago. I really like them. And the USF building is so nice. Like the one downtown.
Yeah, the downtown one, yeah. It's right in the heart of downtown. So.
Do you ever go into the like the USF campus that's like near Golden Gate?
The Fulton one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going on both the campuses, but my classes are usually held in the downtown one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hey, I think I'll close in 1 minute.
Yeah, that sounds good.
What are you guys planning after this?
Dinner.
Oh, you didn't even have
beer, if I find one.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I think beer is a good idea.
I was telling my partner, like, maybe I should have a beer while I'm doing it. And then obviously I'm on video. I'm not going to do that. Oh, my parents would be so disappointed in me. I can't believe they stayed until the end.
That would need some courage.
Yeah. They're not in the energy sector at all. Like they literally the furthest thing from that. So they probably understood nothing. And my sister was here. She works at Microsoft. Oh,
yeah, I closed the room.
All right.
Oh, I guess people.
All right, we're gonna let everyone filter in. Unless everyone drops. All right, I'll wait like maybe a minute more.
Yeah, I think everyone's back now.
Okay. Okay, great. So welcome back, everyone. I'm sure you had some excellent conversations in the breakout rooms. I want to say thank you so much to everyone for attending tonight. This has been a phenomenal event. Srini and Emmy from SPIE, thank you for humoring me and being willing to partner with YPE for an event in your traditional switch style. You two spent many hours helping prepare for this event, and I and the YPE team are so grateful. If anyone is interested in learning more about SPIE, I have included their website link on the slide here. Another thank you I want to give is to Sonia and Govinda and the rest of the YPE team here. You all were so patient with me as I figured out a vision for this event, and you contributed so many great ideas and helped out so much. Thank you so much. If anyone is interested in learning more about the San Francisco Bay Area chapter of YPE, I've included the website link here. Finally, we'll be sending out a survey to attendees to get a sense of how the event went for you all. I know there were some presentation glitches, but other things went really well. And so we'd love to hear any thoughts you have. So it would be really incredible if you could fill that out. I think that's it. Anyone else from the YPE SPIE team have anything they want to say before we close the event?
Thank you, Bianca.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks, Bianca.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all for coming. And thank you so much, of course, to our incredible speakers. Your presentations were amazing. You were so crisp. Yen, I'm so sorry for zipping through your presentation.
That's okay.
But you put in so much work for this event, and it showed. Like, it was absolutely phenomenal, and we are all so grateful that you took time to share your opinions and ideas with us. So with that, I think we are done for today. So thank you so much, everyone, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank you, Bianca. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.